2, 1. All right. Welcome, everyone, to a brand new episode of Busted Musket Productions. Animazing. Don't get excited. We're not doing another show. We're not skipping forward again to Katana Gatari like we had originally said we were. This is the OVA, which, if you guys remember, this is where I get someone who is not a part of the original cast to come in, host the show with me, talk about something a little bit smaller. In this case, we're doing an interview.
Very special interview.
Yeah, very special interview. So on the side of the replacement host, I have
Dan. You have Dan.
Yes.
A movie show Dan is now on Animazing for the first time.
Yeah, because we found out a bunch of people had a friggin' title.
Anyway. It was mostly for the safety of our guests that she wouldn't be hounded by all the weebs we know.
No, I'm talking about how we can't call it Cinephiles anymore. Like we have to call it the BMP movie show.
In either case,
yes.
Unnamed movie show host Dan.
Yes. And
how about Steely Dan?
Steely Dan.
Oh, I got made fun of so much on freaking after that JoJo episode.
Freaking JoJo references.
With Steely Dan.
Oh yeah. I love the censored name, Dan of Steel.
Yeah, Dan of Steel.
I like that one better than Steely Dan.
God, move up. It's not moving up. Anyway, today we are actually joined by very popular voice actress.
Well, I don't know about popular.
Hey, you're popular to us.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Go.
Introduce yourselves.
Okay. So, my name is Kira Buckland. I am a voice actress. Probably what you know me for, if you're listening, is 2B in Nier Automata. I'm also Erika in Fire Emblem Heroes, Trucy Wright in Ace Attorney Spirit of Justice, Edna in Tales of Zestiria, Hyoko in Danganronpa 2.
Oh, I know that one.
Umi in the English version of the Love Live anime, and a ton of other stuff.
She's done a lot, and we're going to talk about most things, and we're going to try to, because this is very, very interesting, because, like, to me, I don't know anything, and I want to learn about all these other things that she's done, because it's just like, oh my god. So, anyways, to start, I guess, let's start off, like, how did you get into voice acting? I thought that would be cool to talk about.
Well, everyone has kind of their own way of getting into things and their own way of doing things, but I guess I kind of decided this is what I wanted to do when I got more into watching anime and playing video games and kind of realizing that there are people who do these voices. And, before that I wanted to be a singer, but it wasn't something I was very good at, but, clearly I had this love of, like, performing and using my voice and stuff like that. And I guess kind of how I got started was doing it as a hobby. Like, I used to record for a bunch of online projects, flash animations, that sort of stuff, and, just practiced a lot doing that kind of stuff for a lot of years.
Well, like, what was the first thing that you actually, like, did?
Like your voice too.
My first role in something that was actually, like, a real game that was, like, by real game, I mean, like, official game, not like an indie game or whatever. Not that indie games aren't real games, obviously, but, in terms of, like, something that I got paid for and, like, that I,
something that would be recognized.
Yeah, something on a console, we'll go with that. It was a game called Castle Crashers in, like, 2008.
What?
Yeah, and I played... It was actually, through all the flash animations I did at the time, I knew some people who were higher-ups on the site, and they were like, hey, you've done a ton of voices for animators here. Do you want to do, like, a few random little, like, princess voices and, like, this boss? And it was like, yes, so...
Holy shit.
Yeah.
Fun fact, me and this guy, for a good portion when Castle Crashers came out and we still played on Xbox, we had a yearly Christmas tradition.
Yeah.
And that yearly Christmas tradition is that we would play Castle Crashers from start to finish on Christmas Eve.
Yeah.
Like, we would choose a new character.
So you've had to save me a bunch of times.
We had to save you every single year for about 3 or 4 years we did that.
Yeah, and you said you did a boss, so were you Medusa?
Yeah.
Yeah, so we also chopped her head off multiple times.
That's amazing. Holy
la,
shit.
La, 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 la.
And then...
That's crazy, because I was just like, wow, how the hell did you get a hold of Behemoth?
Yeah, I didn't even know that either, so when you said that, me and Dan were just like, What?
Yeah, because we did that.
Well, that's a fun way to
For
start off the
years,
interview.
we did
Yeah.
that. Because it just kind of happened by accident. Like, one Christmas Eve, we're like, we have nothing to play. We want to play together, but we want to have something that'll last from 8 o'clock till midnight.
And also, Scott Pilgrim was way too hard.
And Scar Poker was way too hard to do and too frustrating.
Yeah.
So we're like, fuck it, let's just do Castle Crashers. Just pick a new character because you unlock something every time you pass it. So it's just like every year you'll have something new to play as to keep going.
Aw.
And we did that. So now to learn that you were there, it's like, well, fuck, look at that.
So, not only were you Medusa, but you were also all 4 of the princesses? Only
Yeah, well, I mean, the one doesn't really talk, but.
But yeah, one doesn't talk, yeah.
Yeah. Well, I know that the princesses will. Oh yeah, one doesn't talk. I forgot about.
Yeah, there's
Oh
a
god, I
derpy
forgot
one.
about that ending.
There's a derpy one that doesn't talk, right?
It's a clown.
Yeah.
It's like a goof ending because one
Yeah,
always had
that's
hell
why I
in
call
his
it it's derpy princess
Oh,
because
God.
it's a clown.
face.
whatever.
That's why I'm just like, no, I remember you saying help. Wait a second, no, there was one that never talked. Yeah, and I remember that ending for it too. PTSD's coming back. Anyway.
He's got clown phobia.
No, I don't. I'm okay with clowns. Just, don't walk up to me in an alleyway.
don't be it.
See, well, everyone was like, oh, all of this bad stuff happened in 2016, and like the worst thing to happen in 2016 was the clown-demic.
It's like everybody likes clowns, and there's all these freaking like murder clowns are on the loose for some reason.
Yeah. So, oh god, no.
It'd be a great movie, like, based on a true story.
Yeah, the Blair Witch Project with
Yeah,
clowns.
exactly.
Oh God.
No, the only clown movie I will tell people to go watch is Clown, where it's about a guy puts on this like a clown suit that turns him into a clown creature.
It turns him into like a were clown, I guess.
Yeah,
Yeah, it was like a were clown, right?
It's so dumb. I love that movie. But anyway, sorry. This happens. I'm sorry, Kira. I'm so
It
sorry.
won't happen as much because there's only 2 of us. But if it were more, it'd be happening.
remember in, like, I think it was maybe the third Ace Attorney or the second, I can't remember, and it was like, now you have to cross-examine the clown.
Wait, is that a thing?
Yeah, that
Yeah.
was the thing.
I've never
No, it
played.
was-
I mean, you have to cross-examine, like, a bird and an
bird-
orca.
Yeah, he
and
knows
all
about the
this kind of
bird because
stuff,
the movie
but-
shows that case.
Yeah.
The whole DO3 case.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
That movie was great.
Yeah.
You should totally watch it later when you
Yeah.
and then make
And
one
also
of your
watch-
comedy things on it for
And
why
also
not?
watch other films by Takashi Miike.
No, Daddy.
Yes.
Don't watch other
Yes.
films.
It will scar her for life, and I could put it on my resume.
She can't be scarred by Takashi Miike, but she'll be weirded out for sure.
Oh, watch Audition if you haven't heard of that movie.
Okay.
I have, yeah.
Okay, then yes, she's already
He
well
hasn't seen
aware.
it. He hasn't seen it yet, so I have to make him watch it.
Yeah, he wants
Anyway,
you to
so
watch
okay, so that's pretty cool that you were in Castle Crashers. So that means you started like in 2010.
Well, I've been voice acting as a hobby since 2004, but
okay.
it took me a while to get, my
Recognized
first
by
official
companies.
jobs or whatever, because I grew up in
Yeah.
Alaska. So,
Oh.
and all the work is pretty much here in Southern California. So until I was able to move out here, like save up and move out here and stuff, obviously I couldn't really do a lot of voice acting work except for, just stuff for fun. So,
And then you'd have to be like a massive name in order for them to be like, if you have all the good equipment, you could just do it from like that.
well, even then for stuff like anime, that doesn't really work because when everything has to be done to picture and like the timing is so technical and this and that, they pretty much need people to be there in person. So, I mean, occasionally you'll see like indie games and stuff these days where they have like a cast that records all over the place, but for the most part, like, console games and this and that, it's all done out here.
Mm-hmm.
So what was like? When did you start doing anime dubbing?
Yeah.
I think I got like my first little roles for anime in like 2009-ish, something like that.
Oh, okay, so that was that was before Castle Crashers was released, but you were probably working on it at the time.
Yeah, I get my timelines mixed up because it's been so long ago.
That's
but,
fine. A general
yeah.
gist is all we're looking for. We're
Yeah.
not looking for exact facts.
Yeah, and also
Like,
depending.
I'm sure nobody like cares.
Because
and
I
also-
can't even remember anything from 09.
Yeah.
Yeah, and also depending what anime you tell me, I'll probably know the year it came out.
Yeah, he knows
the
his shit.
first
So.
shows that I did were just like small parts or like just little things here and that, and then I didn't really get like I guess my first big anime roles until about 2012 because I did Blue Exorcist where I played Izumo Kamiki and I did Excel World and like a little after that.
Wait, so which one was the character in Blue Exorcist?
She's the one with the pigtails. The kind of tsundere one.
Oh, okay, yeah, I know her.
Yeah.
Alright, so... Okay, oh yeah, I remember that character. I recently saw Axelworld, and for the entire time I was watching the series, I had no idea that was you.
Really?
Yeah.
I guess kind of different from the types of characters I normally play.
Yeah, you usually play like strong-willed characters, and not saying that Kurayuki Hime is not strong-willed, but she does play the character more cutesier in some scenes, and then we'll switch in between the voices. I know.
She's more like subdued, whereas a lot of the characters that I've played have been kind of mean girls, which is really fun. And then 2B is a total departure from that, so like nobody
is just like
saw that
total
one coming.
blind robot badass.
Yeah, even though like a lot of that game, there's a lot of like smacking in the back of the head that you have to do with 2B because he's like basically the audience avatar to an extent, and then you're just like get your head in the game. Emotions are prohibited.
But then you'll be like crying, and she starts getting emotions pretty quick after stuff happens.
When you fight Adam in like that town made out of cubes, that was when you were at the most emotional in that game.
That, and I would say like ending A, for instance, and stuff
Yeah.
like that. But yeah, I really liked that scene with Adam where she's just like screaming at him. And fun fact, the actor who plays Adam also plays my brother in Fire Emblem Heroes, so.
Oh my god.
Yeah. Get him on here one of these days.
If you can talk to him for us, sure.
Yeah.
Hey, we'll talk with anyone that's willing to come talk with
Well,
us.
most people are super nice if you just send them like all like the
Yeah.
interviews that I do and stuff. People just email me and they're like, "Hey, do you want to do this?" And I'm like, "Yeah, sure."
Yeah, that's why. Like, you know, we're not shy enough that we're not gonna ask it because we're too
Yeah.
busy. No, we're asked. It's just like, hey, we're these indie guys that do a little podcast. Would you come talk to us just for shits and giggles?
But also, if you know Ben Diskin, like let him.
Yeah,
know.
he's one of my good friends.
Okay, yeah, just let him know because I think I picked him out at a con one year.
Oh,
I mean, he's pretty busy, but just send him an email
Yeah.
or something, you know.
Ben
cannot
Diskin
even-
is such a cool dude.
Yeah, he's super cool.
That
I got
dude-
him hooked on these mochas too. For anyone who follows me on social media, I made these guys try the iced Mexican mochas today, and
You're
they're the
trying to
stuff
make
of
a
legend.
cult of Mexican fucking mocha.
No, people say that because I get all these people to go to that coffee shop and try them, and I always joke with the owners like, you guys should give me discounts or something with how many people
How
I
many
bring
people are
in to
coming?
get hooked on these. Yeah.
Yeah, because if there's a person who I think works a little too hard in the dubbing world is Ben Diskin because he's never one character in an anime. He's always like 2 or 3. He's like 4 characters in Fire Emblem Fates. It's crazy to me.
Is he?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, no, he's Saizo. He's
Oh, he's Awesome Ninja Man?
Yeah.
That's great.
Yeah, he's Saizo. He's I forget who else, but he's like a kid who can summon like animals out of his book and stuff. And yeah, he's Jacob the Man-Made, which is what I call him.
The man-made. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm not too familiar on Flates, so.
Yeah, no,
I know
he's
some
a butler.
characters.
He's a butler.
Is he the fancy butler turns a
Yeah.
werewolf?
Yeah, that's no,
Or-
he's not a butler. No, that guy's a completely different dude.
Oh, okay. Never mind. I don't know what it is.
His weapon is throwing knives. But yeah, he does a lot. And but with you, you know, like when you're in a character, when you're in an anime, you're one of the main cast, and I bet a lot of like work is put on you because it's like, okay, you're playing Kurayuki Hime, or you're playing like the 3rd main character in Bloodlad, like you.
But I've done a lot of side characters too.
Yeah.
It's just, you know, that's
I-
not what people think about necessarily. But yeah, I've totally had shows where I'm just, you know, this character shows up here or there.
Yeah, and I've heard you guys so many times that I could actually pick you out in like side crowds too. Like, did you ever see Your Name when that came out?
No, I heard it was good though.
Yeah.
It was good.
I saw the dub for that, and I was able to pick out like, okay, they said because if I'm right, people from Crash Zoom worked on that rather than Funimation, who owns the rights to the movie. And they're like, oh, Ben Diskin's a background character. Not only did I know who he was, but I predicted who he would be.
Interesting.
So when I heard his voice in the movie, I'm like, I wish I made a bet with someone so I could make him money.
Well, yeah, because I didn't go see it with him when
Nor
he
did
went to
you
go
see
see
it,
it,
no.
and I also saw the sub. I
Yeah.
didn't see the dub.
That's actually like one of my new goals is I'd love to be in like an anime movie. I mean, I have done anime movies, but it was all like direct to DVD or direct to Netflix. I just did one that was direct to Netflix actually called Blame.
Oh, I gotta watch that.
Yeah, I'm
That's
who
on my
everyone
list.
calls like evil 2B.
Oh, okay.
Wait, what? Why?
Because she reminded me a lot of 2B, but
Ew.
she was a bad guy.
Yeah,
I don't
it's
know anything
basically
about
the Matrix if the humans were in the top surface the whole time and not in the Matrix.
Are you
fighting the
serious?
robots. Yeah.
Oh my god.
Yeah, like when I didn't, because my character was not a major character in it, like I didn't have a ton of lines, but recording it, I was like, oh, this kind of reminds me of like Nier Automata, just from the little bit that I'm learning about this, so.
Yeah, you're like swapping the voice of the character to the point where they're just like, why are you doing your 2B voice? Honestly, I can't tell the difference anymore.
It's just Kira. It's fine.
Yeah, 9S was in that too. I think he was the main guy character, so.
Oh yeah. I'm not really familiar with him. I honestly thought it was like Johnny Young Bosch for a while, but then I'm just like, oh.
Yeah, a lot of people mix them up, or I think they had the credits wrong at one point, but yeah, he's also playing Alm in the new Fire Emblem, so yeah.
Okay. Yes.
9S is blowing up, and it's not just blowing up robots.
Yeah.
For once, it's not just robots.
So see Nier Automata fans, even in interviews, that she refuses to call him nines. Tisk tisk.
Oh, I call him nines all the time, like on
I
our
don't
stream
get
and
it.
in
What's that
person.
joke?
At coffee yesterday, I was just
what?
like, 9S.
Yeah. Yeah. So,
What is that
the
like?
whole
How
joke
Team
in the
2B
game-
calls her?
Yeah.
It's so everyone who knows me calls me nines, so 9S is good enough.
Yeah. And then at one
Oh,
point,
and he's like so sad,
Yeah.
but then later she slips and calls him nines, and then later she calls him nines deliberately, and
yeah.
Oh, is it like kind of like acknowledging his like
It was him wanting to look at her as more of a friend thing because the whole thing is like these robots aren't supposed to be too close to each other because
Yeah, I know a little bit about that, but like, was that like a moment of like I acknowledge you as the person you are kind of thing?
yes.
Okay.
and
okay,
later
I get it.
I won't spoil anything for you, don't worry, but later like you'll really find out why she was distant from him, and it's just so heartbreaking.
Okay. I'm guessing that's BRC. Play through BRC.
That's like towards the end, like I think D&E.
How many playthroughs on?
There's the 5 main endings. I mean, I feel like a couple of them are kind of tied together, and then there's like 26 joke endings, one for each letter of the alphabet.
I've gotten all of that. I've gotten most of them completely by accident. Like when the Goliath was gonna attack Robot Village, I went the wrong way, and they're like, 2B and 9S abandoned the post, which led to the destruction of the resistance camp and eventually the fall of humanity. I'm like, well, Jesus, I didn't know where I was supposed to go.
Well, I mean, from the little bit I do know about Nier, the one thing I will praise them, even though I have not played the game yet, is the attention to detail in a lot of dumb shit. Like, my favorite thing is that you can go to options, go to your OS into your 2B's head, and just shut it off, and the game ends because you die, because you
Yeah.
shut down your OS.
And they have, I mean, I'll admit I haven't played the original Nier, but they make a lot of references to it. Like, you know, you see like the lunar tears in the game. There's a lot of stuff. Emil is a returning character, so are Debola and Popola, and you know, there's just
which one was Emil? Was it that ball thing?
the big head.
The
yeah.
big head that looks like the game director, because he always wears that head.
Yeah.
Yeah, that thing freaked me out.
That
because
thing is like I saw that scene and I love it. It's like
When
kill
his,
it.
like story and stuff, it's like super tragic. And, yeah.
I still love they reacted to it when they saw it. Like kill it. I was like, yeah, that's the appropriate response. Fucking kill that
No, then later you're like, he's my son and needs to be protected.
And
thing. That
then,
son is fucking creepy.
Yeah, because what ended up happening in my playthrough was like I was walking around as 2B because I was the pod where 9S was away from you. So I'm just walking around and I start hearing like folksy polka music in the
I
background.
love it when he's on his little like Thomas the Tank Engine thing, and it's
Yeah.
like
Oh my god, what is going
Yeah,
on?
yeah, he's like, bah, 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 and I'm just like, what the hell is that thing? And I'm just,
every day's a sale. And like, there's this great, somebody tweeted at me this little clip where it was like this serious scene going on between A2 and Pascal, and then suddenly Emil comes in, and he's like, bah, bah, bah. Just like,
oh yeah.
it's like
Let's
Emil
ruin the
ruining the
tone.
mood.
Let's
Yeah,
ruin the tone.
so someone even showed a scene that they were playing the game on hard mode and they were fighting a bunch of robots and like getting their butt kicked, and then they just like the camera zooms in on Emil just driving by and he's like, look at that little bastard, help me.
Oh my god.
So let's see.
I guess my question right now is, what is the main difference between doing an anime dub
Oh.
and a video game dub?
So the biggest difference that I would say is that for anime, everything needs to be time to picture, exactly. Because, you're having something that's already been animated, it's already been voiced in another language, and you're very restricted as to what you can do, as in, hey,
Oh,
this
I s-
character's mouth moves a
I
certain way,
see.
it has to, whatever they do, like even the scripting is affected by that. So
Yeah, because the game is made to be tailored to audio. As for your audio needs to be tailored to a pre-made product.
Well, a lot of times for games, there is an element of that. Like, for example, for the cutscenes in Nier, we did that same kind of process where we do it to picture because they already had it animated and they already had the Japanese voices in and all that kind of stuff. So we're watching that and then we're trying to, match the timing and kind of like match what the original actors did as well. And for just the audio parts, like where it doesn't have to be matched up to picture, there's usually not really that timing restriction. But a lot of times, if it is a game that's been voiced in another language, they will play us the original line for reference so we can kind of like see what they did and
You
stuff
get a
like
feel
that.
for like how like you're supposed to do the cadence and stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, and sometimes they do like deviate from stuff. Like I feel like they, allowed 2B to have like a little bit more emotion in certain parts, maybe in the English version or this or that. But like I didn't have to keep her like super monotone the whole time. But I know like it depends. Like some games, it's like we've had to be really really close, and then others, it's like okay, we'll like listen to a little of this for reference, and then you can kind of do your own thing, or like it just depends.
Have you ever been in a ghost stories situation where the anime company just told you guys to do whatever you want with the audio because it wasn't that popular in Japan?
No, I feel like that's such a unique situation. Usually for a lot of stuff, especially if it's a popular franchise that's coming over here, they're like super, everything has to go through multiple layers of approval. So like you can't really, a lot of people ask like, oh, do you guys get to improvise and stuff? Because, people who record like Western cartoons and stuff a lot of times because they have like the writers in the room with them and stuff, they can maybe like improvise some things or this or that. But it's not, especially when you're doing something that's already been released in another language, a lot of times they really want to like stay true to the original and honor like the creator's vision and stuff like that. So it's very, most of the times it's like if there's something that just doesn't flow well when it's spoken, sometimes the director will be like, oh, can I rewrite this line a little? But they always like give them the original as one of the takes and then say, here's one that flows a little better or whatever.
I mean, sometimes it's always that like some things just can't translate at all.
Yeah.
So that makes sense to me.
Like,
That they,
Yeah,
they
but all
would-
that stuff is like done in like the writing and localization process. So by the time that voice actors record the script, that's like finalized.
Oh, that's already been
pretty
done.
much.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Gotcha.
have you heard of that anime, by the way, Ghost Stories?
Yeah.
Okay, good.
There was a clip from it going around on Facebook recently. And I was
Like-
like, wow, I cannot believe they got away with saying some of this stuff.
Yeah,
It's-
they just turned that into an adventurous series. He could barely handle like half a barely, not even
I
half
saw
of
one
that.
episode. I'm just like, I gotta shut this down before I die from laughing. At
Yeah, and one thing I'm noticing, they couldn't do it as much, but I'm rewatching Bobobo, and I'm watching that dubbed, and I'm just like, you guys did a lot. They did a lot of like improvising in that, because there's entire parts where the kanji will spell out this long title, and they'll just be like, the name of this movie is Hope, and it's just like, it says more than that in Japanese, like, what's it really saying?
Yeah, some of that is, again, if the characters' mouths are moving, they have to like fit things in or this
Yeah.
or that. So there's like a lot of restrictions for sure. I mean, doing anime is super fun, don't get me wrong, but it's very technical, and I think a lot of
Yeah.
people don't realize that because people, especially who aren't fans of anime dubs are like, oh, I could do that, anyone could do that, it's so easy, and then you actually like get in the booth and you realize, okay, there's a million things you have to think about, it's not as simple as, well, I watched the show in Japanese so I know what it is, because a lot of times you don't even know what you're like recording for when you
Yeah.
go in. It might be something that you've like never seen or that there's no like knowledge, like widespread knowledge of, so
Or they completely like cut out things or change some scenes.
that's not as common anymore. I know, back when like 4Kids was doing a lot of
Well,
stuff,
yeah,
it was
that's
a
why,
big
like,
thing, and
in
obviously
those-
people were upset about that.
In those cases, yeah.
But that's
what
not
I'm
the
referencing.
norm these days because people know that fans generally want something true to the original and they don't want things to be like censored and cut, especially with how easy it is. It's so easy now to like get a Crunchyroll account and watch the show like in the original language.
Yeah.
So it's,
It's almost like if
or
you get,
DVDs have dual audio. So, back in the days of like VHS tapes or whatever, where people were like, well, I have to watch this like edited version because that's all that's available in the US. But now it's like people have so much knowledge and so many resources. So they know what the characters sound like. They know what the script is, you know, this and that. And I feel like a lot of localization companies are like, okay, we need to do this in a way that will like appeal to fans and
not have
honor
a
the
pirate
original
rap.
creation. Yeah.
gotta go.
I mean, it's
gotta
very
go.
like meme worthy, a lot of that stuff. There's
I will never forget that, and I hate myself.
Wait, what?
The fucking pirate rap of that damn 4Kids shit.
Oh my god. Yes.
I can never get it out of my head.
It's
so
like,
awful. You can't
mimetic.
forget it.
Yeah.
That's like this channel got shut down, and like people are trying to look for the music, are trying to get him to release the music another way. But there was this channel where he would just get opening some anime and write his own 4Kids opening. For,
no!
He did one for.
And look up the German Naruto opening. If
Oh,
you get a
I've seen
chance.
that
Yeah,
one.
it's like Sasuke. It's
Sasuke.
really cool.
It's
Sakura,
really cool.
the beautiful.
The beautiful.
It's like,
Oh, no,
and it's
no,
like,
no. You have to see
Naruto.
that. You have
It's
to
like
see that
running.
shit.
It's so bad.
I have forgotten about that. Marcus showed me that.
Yeah.
Marcus showed
and
me
you
that.
look at it and you think it's like a parody, and then you're
No,
like, this
it's
was
real.
a thing.
It's real, and it's amazing.
So back in the dark ages, the 4Kids era, there was this
Back before the anime Black Plague.
Yeah. So as you, the listener, will know, one of my favorite animes of last year was Thunderbolt Fantasy, which was an anime that was done completely with kabuki puppets.
Oh.
Very expertly done.
Yeah.
For kabuki puppets.
I'll pull up a photo on my phone right now and show you. You've definitely seen the dolls if you went to the Good Smile booth last year's AX.
Yeah, you would have seen these like weirdly weird like traditional garbed dolls, porcelain dolls there, and they were like apparently the things they used for the show, and it's so crazy because like it's straight up like this super DBZ-esque like show of these dolls like fighting each other and talking like you will not do this or blah blah blah. And, like, they look like that.
Oh, wow. No, I don't think I saw that.
And it's absolutely amazing, because it's just like, they're making crazy fight scenes and all this jumping and flipping. It's like, this is all practical. And these are people moving and changing the camera and, like, all of this stuff.
And the thing that got me about it is the fact that it's written by Gen Orabuchi, who wrote Madoka Magica and Psychopaths. But the reason I bring it up is because this company, and it's still going on, this show started like in the 1980s, another show I'm talking about started in the 1980s and it's still going now, called Peely. And 4Kids made a dub for Toonami of that show called Rulin' Warriors, but it was almost like it wasn't the same show anymore. They had the main character who never talked, but then they made him like a pun-cracking rice guy who always asked about pizza and stuff.
What?
And just like One Piece, they had the rapper, like the rapper doing the opening for it, and it was like really goofy and over the top. So that's why I am such a big fan of dubs right now, because there are times or sometimes I like a dub a little bit more than the original. Like famous, like a lot of my friends know me for not really liking the Hellsing dub all that much, because I think the voices kind of sound sub. The voices sound a little too identical to each other, and I love the dub because they're like, we're in Britain, we have accents, this guy's from Scotland, he needs to be Scottish.
Well, there's just some dubs that are like Cowboy Bebop is one that people always mention is just holding up so well over time, and many people actually prefer to watch that in English because the dub is so good.
Orlando Bloom is his name, right?
Huh? No,
Steve Bloom. If Orlando Bloom was in an anime, that would be something.
I'm really bad with their names. So I'm sorry if I mess up all the time. This guy can tell you.
And also, Daniel forgot about last week's show where we reviewed Pirates, and I don't want to hit anyone who is connected to that movie right now.
Oh, right. Okay. Now that is probably why I messed it up, because we just saw that and we just talked about him.
Yeah.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Go check out the Pirates episode. Well, I got him posted, but go check out the Pirates episode we did, where it was me going off for like almost 2 hours.
I want to voice a pirate in something. I don't think that's anything I've done yet.
Oh, wait, that's Funimation. No One Piece?
I wish, yeah. Funimation is out in Texas.
They're still going. They're still going.
But they do that out in Texas, so... Because most of the anime is either done out here or in Dallas, Texas, and that's where Funimation is, and then out here we have, like, a lot of the other anime.
Yeah, if they were here...
Also, are you connected to Bryce?
Yeah, I know Bryce.
So, do you know how he because I don't, I'm wondering if you do. Do you know how he got Attack on Titan? Did
Yeah,
go
he
there?
actually flew out there to do that, from what I understand.
Yeah.
But, it's kind of like a thing, if you're, like, really well known and established and you know a lot of the directors out there, sometimes they will make exceptions like that. But, like,
Yeah.
I'm not at that level yet where I can be like, yeah, I want to go to Texas and be, like, the lead in a show. Like, I wish, but
Yeah, like
maybe
the,
someday.
yeah, like the two Crash Sim regulars in that was him and Matt Mercer, and Matt Mercer was the main character in Titanfall 2, so he's already out there.
Yeah, he lives out
Mercer's
here,
McCree,
yeah.
right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, cool.
Tan.
I remember. I remember something.
Yeah, and so like a question I had was.
Oh,
so-
actually, sorry, I
No
was on a
problem.
flight with Matt Mercer, like, earlier this year, and he made the mistake of asking what time it was, because we were gonna see if we wanted to check our flight, and just like,
You took the
well,
opportunity.
yeah, I always take the opportunity.
Good.
I almost wish that like when that happens to him now, he's just like, hey, what time is? No, finish it, Matt. I'll tell you the time.
I mean, I still love in game that there's a banter between him and May. It's just like, hey, McCree, do you know what time it is? Oh, it's oh, I see what you're doing.
I heard he'll just, like, he would do that sometimes just to mess with people, like, just do the voice and stuff.
I still need to watch like one of his streams where he just walks into matches and just starts doing it, and people freak out because they're like, where is it? Where is the noon coming from?
Yeah.
Where is the death coming from?
The only like thing I know that's weird, not weird about Matt Mercer, but like when we interviewed Vena, one thing I was noticing when looking at her biography is that everything she was in, he was in. Like,
Well, he's in everything,
yeah,
to be
like-
fair.
Like, I think the only thing he's not in is Nier Automata because, like, Reina is one of the, she's like an additional voice, and I still can't find it. I found Ben Diskin, at least I think I did, but I can't find him. I found Bryce at one point, and I'm like, I can't find who she was.
Well, and it's hard, too, because a lot of the machines have really modified voices,
Yeah.
so it doesn't,
Like, who I think Bryce was, not Bryce, who I think Ben was, I think Ben was one of the cult robots.
Yeah, I think he said he was one of them from what he remembers doing. But
Yeah.
I was
First
actually
part of
going to
the-
tell you, I know this is like totally derailing, but you were
No,
talking
it's
about
fine.
translation stuff. And
Yeah.
in my favorite manga, JoJo's Bizarre Adventure, for the longest time, the only available translation of Part 4 was this fan translation done by Chinese students learning English.
Oh no!
And it's basically like if you ran it through Google Translate, but it has like the. I always talk about this on my JoJo panels because it's like it became legendary for some of the stuff in this. Like the town is called Morio. It's a fictional town in Japan, but they read it as Duang in Chinese for whatever reason. So you see the villain just like munching on the sandwich, and he's like, "What a beautiful Duang! There is no other place as pretty as this town.
Oh, is
it
that
feels
where that
like
image
picnic."
comes from?
Yeah.
I was wondering.
And if
what
you've
is
ever
this?
seen Get a Feeling So Complicated, that's from that too.
Oh, no, because
And-
I've seen
yeah.
some of these like of these memes of JoJo, like that one specifically doing. I'm like, I
Yeah,
don't understand
that's
why
what
this
that's
is,
from.
I don't,
Uh-huh.
and now I get the context. Okay.
That's so weird. Okay,
Oh.
I didn't know about that because you know, truth time. If I'm being truthful here, not a big fan of Part 4. I like it, but I'm just like the Part 3 though, guys.
So
Like,
is part 3 your favorite part?
Yes.
Part 2 is my favorite part.
Yeah. I'm like I like Jotaro, but mostly I watched Part 3 for like the concept of the stands because I think that was like one of the first opportunities where you actually saw something like that. And then
Yeah,
Persona
that's where
took the
stands
idea.
were implemented, but so many different media has referenced JoJo and stuff like that.
Persona, they have, even the dub of Persona 5, they have a thing where something happens to the school, and one of your choices for answering on what happened was the road.
Yeah, a whole bunch of
Wait,
people
really?
showed me screenshots of
So there's
that.
references.
Oh
Completely.
yeah,
that's
and do you
cool.
remember the Cyclops in Phoenix Wright? That's actually a reference to the stand, the lock in Part 4. If you remember that,
Oh,
like when
thing
it's
that-
like the weight of your guilt or whatever.
Yeah,
It's like
that
that.
goes into your chest.
Oh Jesus
Yeah.
Christ!
That episode, that was
Yeah, it still
just, like,
baffles
this
me how
episode's so
old
weird.
JoJo is. Like,
Yeah.
Yeah, it started in 1987, which is the year I was born. Ha ha ha.
Oh
But
my God.
yeah, I mean it's really hard for me to choose a favorite part, but overall I guess I just really connected with part 6. So
Yeah, that was one thing I wanted to point out. So, if that ever does get animated, and when Viz picks it up to be dubbed, are you just gonna lock away every female voice actor so you could get Jolene.
I would do like everything in my power. I would just be like, no, you don't understand. I have to be this character. I have a tattoo of the Joestar birthmark, okay? Like,
do?
yes.
Yeah, look at the back of the neck.
Holy shit, there it is.
And it's exactly what it should be, too.
Oh
Well,
my
it changes
god.
position in the manga like a lot.
It doesn't matter. That's accurate to what I remember.
So sometimes I'll be like cosplaying that, and people will be like, "Oh, how'd you get yours not to come off?" And I'm like, "So it's real."
Yeah, because what was it?
That's pretty amazing. I didn't know.
For the Blu-ray edition of Blood Lad, they have interviews with you guys, and your interview photo is you as a green-haired Jolene.
Yes.
Are you serious?
Yeah, I told you at the coffee shop, like, I said, I have no idea how you look like out of cosplay because all I've seen you as is Jolene.
Like, look.
Well, and now I've been posting a lot of 2B, but...
But yeah, look, because from
what
what I remember when we were at the skate room, I was like, look, man, all I know is that she has pink hair, and I kind of remember it. Like, that's all I know. It's just like, she still has pink hair, so we're good. I think that's her.
Yeah, but that was another thing too. When I found out you were in the like not a guest panel, but you were at like a fan panel for JoJo last year. I'm just like, all I need to do is look for a Jolene, and I bet that's
Well, there's a lot of people who cosplay Jolene, but
what's her stand's name?
Stone Free.
Okay, so I found a Jolene that had her.
Yeah,
too,
I've
and I'm
seen
just
some of. I wish I had a Stone Free. I need to. AX, 1 month away. I need to work in my costume.
I still need to finish mine. Like, I have all the pieces for mine. I just need to go to Home Depot to get, like, the final assembly pieces, and then it's ready.
I'm so bad at, like, sewing and patterning and stuff. It's just constant
But you
trial
make all
and
that
error.
stuff, right?
I don't make, like, I didn't make my 2B because I just don't have the skills to make something like that. I ordered that
That is a
one,
very
but,
elaborate dress.
Yeah, but, you know, for most of the Jolene costumes, because the ones you order online are kind of garbage, so I've had to, and then the wigs have been garbage, too, and I've had so much bad luck with Jolene wigs, so I'm making my own for AX, and I started working on it last night, and I was like, oh, this is hard.
But, so, like, one thing I wanted to point out, because I know a lot of voice actors, they kind of want to veer away from this question. I know Ben did, I know Bryce did at their panels. But for the upcoming anime in this season, what is an anime and a character that you would love to be a part of the dub for?
Well, I mean, obviously, I want to be Jolene if they do, but if I were going to be a character in part 5, because I wouldn't be surprised if we, you know, if they say something maybe at AX or whatever, like, oh, part 5, because everybody knows that, like, they've got to animate part 5.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess I would want to be Trish. There's not really a lot of women in part 5, but,
you could always
or
do
Narancia
Yukaku.
could be voiced by a woman, yeah.
Or maybe you could do Yukaku in part 4.
Yeah, that would be fun. I did, like, a thing once where when she's doing the big insult to Koichi, I made, like, a recording of that for fun on Vokaru. She's like, I'm gonna rip your dick off, or whatever. I'm just like...
Oh, goodness.
That episode
Yeah.
went from, like, 0 to 167, like, fast.
Mm-hmm.
That was one of the episodes that actually made me realize that I'm just gonna stick with this show, because they do have episodes that I'm just like, this was so good.
Yeah. I'd also like to be Raimi in part. Can I just want to be everybody. in JoJo.
You just want...
Just put me into JoJo. Just anyone. Just throw me in there somewhere.
Yeah, just no, you know what? Like, save money. You don't have to get. You don't have to. You know, like they're doing part 3 right now, as Richard posted on his Facebook.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, I don't know. Maybe just for part 4, just have you do all the characters.
Yeah, and people are joking, like, they're probably just saving you for part 6. I'm like, I'd be okay with that.
I've been joking like that with the Japanese side. I'm all like, Kana Hanazawa hasn't popped up yet.
And I've played a ton of her roles, too. But they've been changing everybody from the games to the anime, because I got really used to the game cast and stuff. So, like, I love Miyuki Sawashiro as Jolene, but I know that when they animate it, they're probably going to change it. I mean, I like all the anime voices, too. It's just kind of that, oh, I got used to, like, these voices, and now I have to... change and stuff. Although they kept Okuyasu, which was really cool because he was hilarious.
My friend was very mad about Ronan, his voice actor, being changed.
Oh yeah,
So,
Rohan?
Yeah, so, okay, that's how you say it, sorry. But by the time they had him in the show doing his whole thing, my friend was just like, okay, he's kind of better than the video game voice actor, I'm sorry.
Yeah, they're all good in their own ways. It's just like, because I really like Josuke's game voice, and now, you know, I love his anime voice too. It's just like, it always takes some getting used to. But I feel like Jolene was just like super perfect, so I'm like, I don't know how they're gonna top that, but okay.
The JoJo game's a fighting game, right?
Yeah, the All-Star, they've had quite a few, like there were even old like PS2 games, like there was a Part 5 game, and it's funny on YouTube because the graphics are just hilarious. So you have the Sex Pistols in it, and they just look so like the polygons. I don't know like even the correct term to describe it, but it's like blocky
it's low
graphics,
poly,
and
is
it's
what you
it's
would
really
say.
funny.
Yeah, I know that we were supposed to get that Part 5 game here too, but apparently Vanilla Ice is still being used in that part, so he wasn't.
No,
given
Vanilla
any
Ice isn't in Part 5.
Okay, well there was.
He was in Part
No,
3, but they censored a lot of the names anyway when
Yeah.
they brought stuff like even in the old fighting game. I think they just called him Iced, and
Yeah.
then
anime was Cold Ice.
yeah, Cool Ice was the name later, but like in the old game, it just said Iced, I think, and then Oingo and Boingo were like Oing and Voing or something like that.
Boing.
Oingo and Boingo, and then in the anime, their names are just like Yen.
Totally different.
Yeah, Yenvata and Zenvata. I'm like,
Whatever. Zenyatta, what?
that's the thing I loved about the fact that they're saying the English translation in the anime, because you're seeing like Yenzada, Yenfada, and then you hear them just saying Oingo and Boingo.
Oingo Boingo Brothers!
Yeah.
Or one of the ones that everyone just like made such a meme out of was the filthy axe at a reasonable price for D4C.
I get it. Dirty
our
deeds.
panel,
Dirty-
yeah. So our panel ribbons at ALA last year, like the ribbon we gave out for people attending our panel said filthy axe at a reasonable price.
That is so great. That's amazing.
So another question I had was, you were at a convention last weekend, right?
Yeah, Animazement in North Carolina.
Anime what?
Animazement?
Okay.
North Carolina.
Alright, I have to go make a phone call to that place and be like, you're kind of taking our name. That's gonna happen.
I mean, I think they've been around for like 20
way
years.
longer than us. I mean, well, only a year old, but I'm joking.
Oh, I caught it.
Yeah,
I caught it.
But okay, so I was wrong because I thought you were at Anime North, because apparently that was happening like the same weekend
There
as
were
that.
so many cons last weekend from
MomoCon,
what I
Anime
hear.
North.
Fanime, like a lot of my JoJo friends went to Fanime and stuff like that. So
Yeah, that's why I'm just like, oh, I bet she's at Anime North, and then you're telling me this now, and I'm just like, okay, I was wrong.
Yeah, because I told him, it's like, yeah, she's at a con. She'll be back later, and I'll check in with her next time. But I didn't ask what con. That doesn't matter to me.
No, it doesn't. Oh,
there was at my JoJo panel there was a Star Platinum cosplayer in like full body paint and everything. It looks so amazing. And then this Dio. So at the very end, I had the Star Platinum along with their Jotaro, and then a Dio come up and do like the Aura versus Muda thing. It was really cool.
that's awesome.
I wish someone said they got it on video and they were gonna tweet it to me, but I don't think they ever did.
Yeah, I got into but because my question, my question is going to be, what was the weirdest con experience you've had? But I've had a really weird one last year with a Dio, because
You had a bizarre
I had a
experience.
bizarre-
You had it a
Adventure.
Bazaar adventure?
Yeah.
Oh
With the
my
Dio,
god!
because
Don't.
What happened was, I saw a Dio, and this dude was like a bodybuilder who was like, I have the body of a
Oh
Dio.
yeah, I think I know who you're talking about.
Yeah, okay,
It's a
so...
fucking rip deal. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So-
James, I think is.
Okay, so now I have a name.
We'll
If it's
call
the guy
him.
I'm
We'll call
thinking
him
of.
James, even if it's the right person or not. So James goes
Yeah,
along.
because-
Bodybuilder, go on.
Because what happened was, I asked him for a photo, and then he's like, okay, so he took some photos, and then like he's like, hey, can you do me a photo? This will be a really funny photo opportunity for you and me. And I'm like, okay. He's like, can you like get on your hands and knees? And I'm like, okay, fine. And then he puts his like foot on my back, and then he's just like, you're underneath me. Remember that? And I'm like, you motherfucker, you're getting way too into this deal right now.
Hashtag rude.
If it is the Dio I'm thinking of, he was super hot though. I called him Hot Dio, so
Well,
I'm like, he could
rude.
step on me. I don't care.
Oh my
I
god.
imagine Dio hot regardless, so that's just a good that's just a good cosplay right there.
Yeah, I think it's important that, when you have these evil characters who are very charismatic and very attractive and stuff, it's like you can see why people became their followers, even if they're kind of trash when you
Even
get
if
down
they're
to it.
complete horrible people.
Like what was the name of? I think her name was like Mariah, but that lady.
Yeah, Mariah.
Yeah, she was-
That's somebody else I'd like to be.
Yeah, she was just flat out like she was just flat out like, yeah, you're cute, but you're not as hot as like my Lord Dio. Like she was just full on like, I only got on this cult because of his ass.
You're not as hot as Lord Dio.
Did you ever see?
Damn.
Yeah. Did you ever see the JoJo Bizarre Adventure Abridged? That
A little bit, yeah. That's my friend.
Yeah,
So.
because he did this joke.
Like everyone you're mentioning, I'm like, oh yeah, that's my friend. It's
Just
not
like-
like
no,
that. It's
all-
just like we all happen to, everybody.
Just
knows each
everyone
other.
knows each other.
Yeah, no, it's fine. I mean, that just shows people like
The
that-
community's more closely linked than you
yeah,
think.
and that you're cool with the community.
Well, and I've been in the JoJo fandom for like probably 3.5 years now, so I've gotten to know a lot of the people in it.
Yeah, and 3.5 years. Okay, so that's even a year longer than I've been in it because
Well, context. His breaking anime that got him into anime is Attack on Titan. Because I put a bet with him, and
Well, I'm
like,
surprised you're not playing Nier in Japanese then. I mean, I guess I wouldn't follow.
Well, it kind of does help the fact that like my favorite character is actually Levi. So if Levi was playing like 9S, then I would probably be playing it in Japanese.
in either case, at the time, I was showing them animes that I liked, and most of my animes were like dumb comedies and whatnot. I didn't put at the time I didn't put the thing as just like to cater something what he would want to watch. I was mostly just showing him what I was watching at the time, which is why I couldn't get him into it. But then one day I discovered Attack on Titan, and I know him, and I'm like, okay, so this is the last thing I'm ever going to show you. If you don't like this, I'm convinced that you'll never get into it.
Yeah.
And after that, he binged so hard.
And what was the anime I saw after that? Kill la Kill. So my taste, as soon as I broke into anime, I was all over the place.
Yeah,
I was
and
watching
then he got
comedies.
into those absurd comedies that I like. Not as absurd as me, but some that delved into that.
Yeah, if you've never heard of this, watch Maid Guy, and that will break your mind.
Maid
It's
Guy
so
is one of my
ridiculous.
favorite comedies
It's
ever.
so ridiculous.
I mean, there's too much fan service for my taste, but it is so fucking funny.
Yeah, and with this, because like the thing I liked about that abridged for JoJo was the guy had this joke that when they're fighting Darby, and they killed him, he's all like, oh yes, I'm working for Dio with his chiseled abs, his well-toned thighs, and that amazing ass. He's like, okay, I'm getting a little uncomfortable here. Shut up, Dio Bando is a sexy man.
He's Michelangelo's David abs.
So, like, going back to what we were talking about, what was the weirdest con experience you've had? With, like, a fan, or, like, maybe there's a mess up
I'm
with the panel?
sure there's something she's got, and I'm pretty sure there's so many that she's gonna have to like flip a coin for which one she wants to actually talk about.
Yeah.
I'm just trying to think of something that's like funny or memorable.
Rather than just awkward and weird.
Well, maybe
Yeah.
if it's just like, a fan just like stood by my booth, didn't say anything, and was just standing there the whole time.
Well, I haven't had a lot of that until recently because nobody really knew who I was until Nier Automata came out. So it was, I guess that was kind of like weird in a way, going to like, oh, suddenly like people are like coming to like, if I do like a signing or something, like, oh, people are actually coming now.
They're like, to me, waifu.
Because nobody would come, so I used to just like sit on my DS and collect street passes back when that was a thing, and then I would catch Pokemon and stuff.
The whole time.
I used to take my DSs down there. Yeah.
I guess now, like, yeah, I've signed like 2B body pillows. And, I guess there was kind of a funny one from Animazement, because usually, like, if there's kind of suggestive 2B art, there's obviously a place they want me to sign it, so I just kind of go for that. So this girl comes up with her poster like that, and she's like, oh, I'm not sure where to sign it. So I just go for the butt, because that's where everyone else wants me to sign it, right?
Yeah.
So I just start to, she's like, oh no, not there! And she's like freaking out. I'm like, I'm sorry, I didn't know. Everybody else wants me
You
to
ruined
sign
the
it."
view.
You ruined the view.
God, that. Well, what do you think about like the whole meme with that thing and the story? I think it might even be like, whether it's true or not, but the story behind how people are gonna get fired if the butt didn't look the way it did.
Well, dude, like, if I remember correctly, and correct me if I'm wrong, but there was a point in time that they actually freaking, like, they modeled an anus, yeah.
Yeah.
No, that was fake. That was somebody photoshopped. that.
Okay. Good.
Okay, like, that's why I'm like, correct me if I'm wrong, but like, there was a whole story on that for some reason. I'm like, there's no way that's
No,
true.
somebody photoshopped that, and then the internet got up in arms about it, and they're like, "Oh, surprise! This wasn't actually a thing."
Okay,
No,
good.
because like me knowing games, I'm like, there's no way
So-
they let that slide.
Yeah. So,
Yeah.
but what
There's
about
no
that
way.
other story where it was like the director told the staff, if you do not make the most perfect ass on her, then I will lay off some people.
I think he's weird enough that that's true.
I appreciate Yoko Taro's honesty with stuff where they're like, why did you design 2B this way? And he's like, because I like girls. I mean, because I feel like there's just like so much pressure now when people are designing like sexy characters and, you know, they get all this criticism and stuff. And not that I don't think any of that is warranted but I think it's more about the way the character is treated than anything.
Yeah.
Because if the character is just totally objectified in the game and made into like two-dimensional personality, if you will, stuff like that, then that can be a problem if that's how, if you're giving all your male characters these really good, like, defined personalities and backstories, and your female characters are just like eye candy, that's not good. But I really don't feel like 2B is that kind of character. And I know someone on Facebook was talking about how they were put off from playing the game because they felt it was just going to be fan service, and they felt that, 2B was just like, oh, it's a sexy character and that's it. And I was like, no, that's really not. And it's like, yeah, she has a sexy design, but aside from like, oh, you can self-destruct her, there's really not like, she's not like treated as that by like the other characters in the game. Even like, I feel like 9S is like pretty pure overall with like, he's like, oh, 2B is just so wonderful and I look up to her a lot kind of thing. It's not like that. And you can self-destruct 9S too and have him in his little shorts. I'm like, hey, and if you play as self-destructed 9S for an hour, you get an achievement that says, not that I mind.
Yeah, what the fuck?
There is a
What?
It's almost like the game's talking directly to you at that point. But like the thing with the thing with 9SI 2B is that 2B has what I'm calling the Rey syndrome from Star Wars Episode 7, where Rey was just such the strong, interesting female character that I wasn't like everyone else where they're like, oh yeah, the girl playing her is really pretty. Oh, Rey was hot. Rey is like waifu. And I'm just like, I don't find them that way because that's not what was interesting about the character. What was interesting about Rey was that she was a strong female character who knew how to do all this cool stuff.
Yeah.
And that was the thing that I liked about 2B. Like, my friend always told me, when you're walking up the ladders in Nier, like, move the camera down. And I'm like, I'm not going to do that. Like,
Well, like,
I mean, you get an achievement or whatever, but like...
yeah, there's an achievement for looking at her butt for a certain amount of time.
yeah.
But, I think one of the things, too, is that people tend to divide it into sort of like an either-or thing. They're like, oh, well, this character can either be, like, sexy and attractive and, like, nice to look at, or she can be, like, strong and respectable. And I'm like, no, why does it have to be either-or? Because if you look at, like, real life, there's plenty of women who, are totally, like, comfortable with being, like, attractive and sexy and whatever, but they're also like strong and three-dimensional people, so it's like I don't think it has to be. I mean, yeah, I'd love to see like more variety of like body types and this and that of like especially the female characters in video games, but again, these are androids, so they can be designed. I mean, if I could design a male android any way I want, you could bet he'd be looking like David Bowie.
And
of course
he's
you're
like
going to design him
completely ripped
attractive.
and toned.
Actually, I'm really surprised that like no one's kind of pointed out the fact that Adam and Eve kind of look like different variations of David Bowie.
Huh, I didn't really notice it. I usually see that like the Sephiroth jokes with them, but there are definitely a couple JoJo characters that look like Bowie.
Yeah, actually, have they not introduced a character who's just David Bowie?
I mean, Yoshikage Kira basically was, which I love that the character with my name is, But then all his like stand and stuff is Queen.
I mean,
Queen
going back to the
names.
director.
Killer Queen, I think is the proper
Killer
name.
Queen, and with sheer heart attack and bites the dust. And then later, my JoJo husbando, because I'm total JoJo trash. My husbando in Part 7 has a stand ability named after a Bowie album. And he's a coffee addict, so yay.
Yeah.
Oh, Part 7. Okay, so that's completely out of my wheelhouse.
Yeah, Diego Brando. He's kind of like that universe's Dio, essentially, but
Yeah.
he's not like as evil.
He would. I know he would love Part 7 because his favorite JoJo is Joseph, and I hear that one is just like that one's basically a different alternate universe of Joseph. That this.
I
JoJo.
wouldn't say Joseph, but there are a lot of parallels between like Part 7 and some of the earlier parts, and especially Part 8 and Part 4. There's a lot of tie-ins between those two.
Oh, okay.
Like Part 8 takes place in Morio, so.
Yeah, which is why we're getting an anime adaptation of that before we get 1, 2, and 3, because it's so much cheaper to make a fake town.
You mean a live-action one?
Yeah, the live-action
yeah.
JoJo, because like me and a few other the fan base are kind of mad that we weren't gonna get like 1, 2, and 3, but it's just like, wait a second, one takes place in England, and the other one is all around the world.
But part 4 is also very hot right now as a
Yeah.
thing, especially with the anime adaptation coming out and that. Because part 4 was already really, really popular, even when it was just in manga form, like super popular among JoJo fans and stuff. And then, it got animated, it got even more popular. So I think that's probably why too.
Yeah, what was it? So you stated your favorite character of JoJo. So like let's limit you here from JoJo. Let's just cut this off right now.
No, this is gonna come back.
What is
This is gonna come back, dude. You know it.
oh, gosh, she's gonna find a way to be like. So
Yeah,
basically,
just
what
let
the
it happen.
question is-
A way to be.
Yeah, actually, I was supposed to make a 2B joke in the beginning.
I mean, okay, look, go.
Just please don't say to be or not to be. Like, no offense. But
Oh,
like
God.
50 people tweet me that every week, and I'm just like, okay, I get it.
I
guys.
get-
I'm so glad I did it because that was exactly what it was
Oh
going to
no!
You freaking.
And I would have had to
disappointed.
smile and be like, yeah, ha ha ha. First time.
Oh,
Oh
I've
my
done that.
god,
Guy's
it's
Twitter
so hilarious and original. Hilarious.
be just like, oh god, what did I want?
Like
to do?
that meme of Jotaro laughing, where it's just like, ha 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 ha.
I mean, look.
And like Kakyoin laughing.
Look, going back to the director of the Automata, and what you said of like
Oh.
how blatant he is and how like straightforward he is. There's one thing I respect about this man is that like he's like, hey, there's so much fan art of my character. I wish I had one place to see it all.
Yeah.
And then somebody sent him a link of like a compilation of all this shit, and he's like, the internet is a wonderful place.
He actually noticed me on Twitter. I'm super excited. Like, I didn't even know if he'd even heard the
Like-
English version or even like cared.
Oh, okay.
Like, this is
what
my
they
favorite joke
did in
from Nier. This is my favorite joke from it. It's just like the Squidward smushed face.
I also bring that up whenever someone's like, "Oh, you're too fat to cosplay 2B," and I'm like, "Hi, you know how much you weigh canonically."
Have you seen those thighs, people? I mean, to be.
Had thunder thighs that will literally
Yeah, I've
break
signed 2B thighs on like body pillows and stuff. Oh, and there was a guy at Animazement who came through my line wearing the Emil head. It was so cool.
Oh, first of all, I want to get that Emil head.
That's
Because-
a creepy head, though.
Exactly. Like, I just want to, because like
You
his
could go-
house has a front door where it has like a little door that you open up to see who it is before you let them in.
Can you imagine opening
Yes.
that door? Oh,
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Hi, friendo.
Okay, so think about my house. Instead of that circle on the window, it's like a square, and you can open it to see who's outside. And so like imagine just opening it when they're saying trick or treat, and that face is waiting for you.
See, I feel like that's kind of pointless in a way because it's like by then you've already opened it. So it's like, what are you gonna do? Slam it in somebody's face? I mean,
No, the door's not open. It's just a little window.
Yeah, so he can choose not to open the door because
Yeah.
if he opens the door, I might come in with a meat cleaver and chop it into little pieces.
but I mean, isn't that also why there's like peepholes and like
Because
windows?
This house was before the people.
Because here's a fun fact about my neighborhood specifically is that there used to be this old man that lived like next door to us.
Oh no.
And this old man loved Halloween. And every Halloween, he'd come out in like some scary outfit and he'd scare all the children trying to cross past his house to go down to go to the other houses. So every Halloween we'd be at home and then we just hear these poor kids screaming outside because the old man was terrifying them.
I just want to see someone do that in a meal mask because nobody would like know what it is, you
And
know.
it'd be fucking terrifying regardless.
It reminds me of when there was, I forgot what event it was, but where Yoko Taro gave some presentation and then people who didn't know what the game was were just like, who is the creepy man in the moon mask? Is this like a Majora's mask?
Rest in peace, old man. I'll miss you dearly.
Yeah,
Aw.
Oh, that is sad. I was watching a video on the Game Theorist channel. It wasn't MatPat doing it. It was another guy, and he was just talking about everything about Nier, and he showed like photos of the director of the game, and I'm like, does he seriously walk around in press conferences like that?
Yes,
Like,
yes.
Yeah,
There
we
is-
actually don't know what his real face
There
looks
is
like.
there is no like recorded image of that guy's face.
It's funny how like Toby Fox and the Meatly, how the Meatly is the creator of Bendy and the Ink Machine, if you've ever heard of that, and how they were trying to hide their faces, but all you got to do is take a photo at a convention and it's out there. So
Yeah,
that
and
guy's
that's-
got to be careful.
Yeah, and that's the
Yeah,
thing.
it's so hard. Like, unless you want to just, every time you go somewhere to just do that.
That guy's
That's-
always wearing a mask.
Yeah.
He does not leave his quarters without the mask?
Or easy, just pull an L where you have someone walking around with a laptop for you. So when you go into conferences, they just take out a laptop and they're like, "This is L." Because this is about this is a show where we focus mainly on anime to break in someone into the mold. Like we've talked about anime that it's like, okay, so here's an anime and here's why people who don't typically like anime or who don't get anime will probably like it. Because my dad doesn't admit it, but I kind of got him into Parasite.
Really? No
Yeah.
way. I don't believe that. I don't believe you.
He asked me like 2 days after I showed him an episode of Parasite. He's like, "What was that show you showed me about like the alien thing?" And then I'm like, "Oh yeah, that was Parasite." I'm like, "While you're asking about it," he's like, "Oh, nothing. I was telling someone I knew about that."
So it's like how we got people to watch something that they might not normally watch.
Yeah. So what was an anime that broke you into this fandom?
I think when I first kind of discovered anime, it was like seeing pictures of the Sailor Moon girls when I was young and being like, oh, they look so cool or whatever. But in terms of like how I've gotten people to watch my favorite series is I meet other people who are into classic rock like I am, and I'm like, So guess what? You have these like 4 super muscular guys that come out of this pillar, and their names are Santana, Wham, Cars, and AC/DC, and they're automatically like intrigued by that and stuff.
Yeah.
And I've even gotten some of the people in like the David Bowie fan communities I'm in who are curious about, because there's a lot of people who photoshopped Bowie with Killer Queen behind him and stuff. So they're like, "What is this? I don't understand." And I'm like, "Oh, let me tell you about a thing."
Let me tell you about a bizarre story.
There was a very good detailed JoJo like fan cover of Queen where it was just the members of Queen in that like floating head thing.
And the Bohemian Rhapsody?
Yeah.
Bohemian Rhapsody.
And there was like people have done great stuff with like King Crimson, for example, and I just love all the King Crimson memes.
Yeah, and they had like they just have Killer Queen on top of it, looking over like Kira and then Yosuke and JoJo and Josuke. My bad, Yosuke. Where did you get that from?
You're thinking of Persona, I guess.
Okay, close enough. Whatever. It's fine.
So JoJo is the anime of your choice where you're just like, this is the anime I'm going to try to convert you into.
Yeah.
So it's okay. So convert everyone.
This guy, we got him to watch it. We still got to get him to finish part 3 just because other things are popping up. Mm-hmm. But he got to the halfway point where they introduced Iggy, who is my favorite character in that series.
And fun quiz. Do you know who Iggy is named after?
Iggy Pop.
Yay! Okay, cool.
Yeah.
What?
Iggy the dog. That's a
I know the dog.
Yeah, Iggy Pop.
And
What's
Iggy Pop actually has a song
singer.
called "I Want to Be Your Dog," and I believe an album called "Naughty Little Doggy." So the more you know.
Holy
You
shit!
probably know. Either that might have been the inspiration, or he's just like, okay, I see what you guys did. You made me a dog.
Well, I love it when, like, for example, the actual Vanilla Ice tweeted a selfie and said "trip to Egypt," and you can imagine.
Are you serious?
Yeah, and
That
I don't even think I think it was a coincidence.
Oh,
but
like he was just
like,
actually going there because
yeah,
of business, and then everyone took it like
vacation,
confirmed.
and then, yeah, and it was all just JoJo stuff in the replies, or like, but then the guitarist from King Crimson actually acknowledged the King Crimson "It Just Works" meme, which is really cool.
I wonder if...
I'm sure one of their agents brings it to their attention. There's a lot of fans like referencing you in some show they really like. Maybe you should say a little thing for good PR.
I believe the song was called Roundabout. The song.
Yeah, Roundabout by Yes.
I remember I went on the YouTube comments for that song.
And it's all JoJo.
It's all JoJo.
3.
And then you get the older people who've known the song before that, and they're like, "What the fuck is JoJo? What are they talking about?"
Yeah, you get that every time something is referenced in JoJo, or like, when that Savage Garden song was in there, and it just got suddenly overrun with JoJo fans.
Yeah. I wonder if...
Well, I mean, it's a really catchy ring.
Yeah, I really want to know if Vanilla Ice is aware of his character and how he looks, and if he's happy about that.
It's like, hey, you're this like vampire in a skin-tight leotard who really has a thing for this guy named after Ronnie James Dio.
Wearing like that Borat like leotard thing.
Oh God!
With like a leather jacket on.
I have not seen this character.
No, he is close to the end.
Oh, okay.
We'll get there eventually. But
eventually,
he's close to the end. By the way, do you have?
Wait, what was that?
Oh, I was just saying I don't know how long we're going for today, but.
Anyway,
We'll cut off in 20 minutes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Like, well, that's our cutoff.
Okay, my bad. And yeah, we have been going. Oh shit.
Well, just also because I want people to enjoy listening to this and not be like, why is she going on about this? For like
Oh no, they
No,
know,
they
know
get to
what they're
learn
getting
and meet you
into.
by us.
And also, we had a lot of issues with the Reina interviews that people thought that we were being a little too formal with her, and then I'm like, okay, well, fine, we'll have her back because she's been wanting to come back. But,
we're living it up. We're getting. I'm getting to meet
Oh
you.
no, being lively is more fun and talk. Like I tell people if I do like Q&As or something, I'm like, ask me whatever. Don't just be like, how'd you get into voice acting? Like you can ask me about music and video games and like food. I don't care.
So since me and Daniel, since Daniel is here and he comes from the movie side of the podcast, what kind of films are you into?
I'm actually I don't know a lot of movies just because I didn't get to watch a lot growing up, to be honest. But my favorite movie is Labyrinth, and I'm sure you can guess why.
Yes, and I saw that movie the other day, and I'm just like, I totally get it now. I love this movie now.
He's
Pants,
seen
magic pants.
Yep,
That's what I
pants
call
magic.
that.
Yeah, he's seen it. I need to watch
Woo!
it. Yes,
It's like it was really hot in Southern California yesterday. And I was just like, "Ooh, it's as hot as David Bowie out here." That's actually
David
my
Bowie's
other
fans.
star tattoo is in honor of him. Actually, the Black Star. So
Oh,
after
shit.
he passed away, I got that.
Okay, that's nice. I remember I had a friend who was like, we actually had to cancel a podcast after he died because he couldn't do the
Yeah,
show.
I
He was
couldn't.
so bummed out.
I couldn't do any. I know it's like weird. I'm like, oh, I love him so much, and I'm also like, he was so hot. Like, I'm sorry. Like, I don't feel like that's like disrespectful to be like the man was hot because he clearly was. Like, there's no denying that.
For me, it was just like a respect on how weird he was and how willing he was to push boundaries at the time.
And I love that. Like, there's so much that that I identify in that, except for he was way cooler than me. Honestly, but, and I've cosplayed David Bowie.
Yeah, but Bowie to me was that guy that I feel like if I ever had the chance to meet him, then I would just be like, I don't want to meet him because he's just gonna make me feel insignificant.
He was very nice, from what I've been told. Like,
Yeah.
People used to say like, "Oh yeah, you're so attracted to this guy and all, but he's a celebrity and he's probably like not very nice and like super arrogant." And I was like, "Yeah, probably." And then after he passed away, everyone was like, "Oh no, he was like super humble and he was very kind and he didn't forget the people who helped him out in his early days." Like there was a photographer that took pictures of him for like his 1967 album when he was like Davy Jones, which is like his real name, but and he
That
later when he
explains his
became
son's name.
famous, he
Wait,
like
really?
sent pictures to that photographer. Yeah, since you guys are movie people, Duncan Jones.
Yeah,
David Bowie's
Duncan
son.
Jones, director of Moon, Source Code, and Warcraft. Which
Oh, really? Oh,
Yeah,
shit.
me and you liked it more than me, and I liked the movie, but like.
And he
Yeah.
just had a kid not long ago too, so David has a little grandson now.
Aw.
Aw. But yeah, I remember I was watching because I got like the 30th, 25th anniversary of Labyrinth on Blu-ray, and all of them were just like we had said that this movie will never have a sequel, but we wanted to make one just so we have a reason to get them back.
Yeah, and the fact that they weren't then they're like, oh, we want to do like a sequel or remake like after he died. I'm like, no, it's not Labyrinth without David Bowie. I'm sorry. Like, if you wanted to do it, you should have done it when he was still around and had him come back, because I don't care if he was in his 60s, he still would have looked hot in those pants.
Watching Labyrinth and then looking how he looks before he died, I think that dude was a vampire.
Yeah.
He did not change barely any.
Like, I'm sorry, this is the Bowie Thirst podcast now, because...
Yeah, guys, you have to see how she's acting right now. She's like hyperventilating and like she can't stay in the same place.
Hey, it's fine.
Because I'm thinking about him now, and it's like...
It's fine. It's
Like, I have, like,
fine.
a folder of pictures of him, and, like, everyone's like, oh, we have our waifu folders. Oh, we're such losers. I'm like, no, I have husbando folders. It's okay.
Yeah. Oh, are you looking forward to seeing 2B on your waifu is trash cosplay this year? Because
What?
Have you never seen those guys?
They walk around in giant trash bins and they put all of that year's favorite
Oh, yeah,
waifus.
I have seen that.
So,
TB's probably.
I'm just gonna go up and like
So, yeah.
just say something in the 2B voice.
and the best part is that there's so many people that want to take photos of like trying to fight the trash trash can.
Yeah.
Me?
Yeah,
I have
you
so
did
many
it.
photos of me like, I'm gonna kick him in the nose.
Yeah, if there is a 2B, I gotta take a picture. But that costume is gonna be so hot at AX this year.
Oh
'cause
yeah,
it's
this is
like,
gonna be awful.
Yeah.
I
I mean, mine's not velvet like some people.
Man, I had a question and I.
Oh, I'm sorry if I
and
derailed a
lost
bit.
it. I lost it. No.
I'm probably doing tubes on day one because there's a Nier gathering going on, and then Jolene, whatever day people are doing JoJo stuff. Mika from Idol Master on day 0 because there's like an Idol concert.
Yeah. Oh, okay. First of all, I want to know when that 2B thing's going, so I'm gonna have to ask around for that.
There's a Facebook event for it. It's just like Nier gathering day 1.
Oh, it's one of those
Okay,
usual
yeah,
Facebook gathering
Yeah.
things. Okay.
All right, I'll go and look for it. So my question, a question I wanted to ask, but I wanted to kind of save this, towards the end because it's just like a little, when's this coming out? But have you had any talks about the possibly dubbing the Axelrod movie that came out last year?
I haven't heard anything about it.
Damn.
I mean, even if I had, we couldn't say. But,
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
like
no, I
her
know.
NDA
but
would
no, we legitimately don't know.
Yeah, her NDA
Okay.
would say that she still wouldn't know, even if she did.
Or she could just be like, I can't say anything about that.
And she would just be motioning to you.
Yeah, because people don't like Sword Art. I like Sword Art to an extent, but when I saw Axelrod out of a recommendation of a friend, I wasn't expecting to like it. So when I saw it, I blew through it in a day.
Oh,
And as
wow.
you know, yeah, that's 25 episodes, I think?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a serious binge,
That,
motherfucker.
it was a very big binge, and I'm just like, hey, there's a movie. Is it? No.
But it would be really cool getting to go back and reprise that character after so long, because that's what we did for Blue Exorcist recently with Kyoto Saga. You know,
Yeah.
I played that character in 2012, and then to get to go back and, obviously I feel like I improve even just a year ago looking at my work. I'm like, wow, I've improved a lot since then. So after 5 years going back.
And when did you do the dub for the movie? Was that 2014 or?
I think so, somewhere around then.
Yeah, with Kyoto Saga, actually, I was really surprised to find out that it was only 12 episodes because the manga's just so far off right now.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm guessing A1, I don't know when, A1's probably testing the waters right now. But okay, I'll definitely be looking forward to the dub. I actually have a friend that me and him purposely were not watching it this season because me and him are just too used to the dub
Oh,
now.
nice. Well, they said it's going to come out on Hulu. I don't know when.
Okay, so since we are reaching that time,
Yeah, we're reaching that point.
so one thing that I learned from Reina Stober was she was playing Azura, but she had no idea what was happening in the plot. She didn't even know about the dating mechanic. She didn't even know that she had a son in that game.
Oh, wow.
So when you were doing work for Nier, did they give you ideas of what was happening in the plot, or were you just
Or they
reading
just
lines?
have you record lines.
And they were
out of
telling
nowhere.
you, okay, so this is how you should be feeling.
No, I mean, there was definitely context, and a lot of times, how it works is, I felt like my performance was the strongest in the cutscenes because I could visually see what was going on, whereas the stuff when you're just, in the open world or, doing side quests or whatever, we're just seeing, the lines on a spreadsheet. But they do, because, again, we had somebody from the localization team there, we had the voice director there, and they're, kind of saying, okay, so, in this scene, this is happening. Because I feel like otherwise the actor couldn't really make an informed decision. And, I guess maybe sometimes somebody would do that for, confidentiality. But again, it's we're signing NDAs anyway to work
Yeah.
on the project. So, I think it's really good to give the actors as much context as they need to know what's going on. But one of the interesting things about playing the game, because people are like, well, were you, super spoiled? But for one, it's so far off from the time we record until the game comes out. Also, we don't always record all the stuff in order, because sometimes, it's if we're doing all this stuff that's just the lines, and then we have to do a cutscene, it's technically it's more work to go back and forth between the different files and doing the different processes. Sometimes we do all the cutscenes at the same time, and then we do story stuff, and and again, you have people there to kind of explain so that it's cohesive what's going on and stuff. But a lot of things where 2B wasn't involved in the story, I didn't really know about those things, because again, if it's not pertinent to your character, they're not necessarily going to tell you, because they don't want to overwhelm you with all this other stuff going on. So
They don't want you to get distracted by the details. They just need you to know what your character is feeling.
Exactly. So I definitely had some surprises when playing through the game, and that was cool. Like,
It's
getting
like
to
I
see-
know what happens, but at the same time I don't know. Is that kind of like
Yeah, and getting to see how everything comes together. One of the things that's hard about playing games that you worked on is when you see everything like all together and like you see the visuals and all that, you're like, oh, I should have done that line differently. Oh, I could have done this so much better, or whatever. But you just don't know. Like, you're just doing the best you can in the moment.
Yeah, but again, like, you did a great job in this game. Like, again, it was one of those cases where I couldn't even tell it was you because I'm so used to your Belle voice. I'm so used to like that. Like I'm a tough chick, but I have like my cutesy moments voice. No, like, so when I'm hearing this, I'm just like, wait, this is her.
Oh my God.
Yeah, he told me like, oh yeah, my friend is friends with the girl who played 2B, and then I'm like, wait, that's her? Oh my God.
and it's like suddenly.
Speaking
Yeah.
of Belle, I remember for one of the lines, I think in English we just had her say something like, "You're wasting your time," or something like that. But in the Japanese, the reference we listened to, she said, "Muda muda!" And I was so excited. And obviously I was the only one who got that, but it was just, yeah.
So many references in that series. Like,
I mean, technically Muda just means useless, so it might not have been a reference, but it was still like, it reminded me of that.
I could kind of imagine that if they were to use that reference, it would be Belle, due to the fact that she can teleport to wherever she wants, similar to Dio just stopping time and then being right behind you.
Tokyo Tomare, the world.
Holy shit.
But yeah, I remember one of the things that got me with Bloodline is just like, it looks like all of you guys are just having the time of your life.
Oh yeah, I
playing
had
that.
so much fun playing that character because I felt like really comfortable like playing her, and like I got into character really easily because I mean there's been some characters that I played where it was like I wasn't used to playing that character type, so it was hard for me, but for Belle I just felt like it felt really natural, I guess.
Yeah, and like what was there's this one scene. It was after Belle had made Staz like go into that boutique shop, and then he was fighting that ogre for the underwear.
Yeah.
And then you just do this thing where you're like cuddling Fayumi, and you do like this really high pitched like voice. I think what it's all like, because Fumichi-chan is so cute, and then Staz is a big old like blockhead or something.
I see. Well, that certainly fills in a few blanks.
Huh?
Like how Fuyumichi is such a nice, cute little girl, and how Staz is just a big turd face. Isn't he? Tell it. She's only kidding. She doesn't mean it, okay?
Big old meanie.
Staz is a big old dummy or
Yeah.
whatever.
Holy shit.
That part got me because I'm just like, that does not even sound like the girl doing the voice at the time.
Oh my God.
Like I just thought like maybe it was like a Monogatari issue where like they had an adult actress to play the adult version of this character, and then they had a younger actress to play the 8-year-old version of a character. And I'm like, no, I bet you have the talent to just compress your voice like that.
I'm surprised you can still do that voice, dude.
Yeah. You used to be able to squeak.
I used to be able to like squeak.
Yeah.
And I'm like, no,
A lot of my cats squeak.
Oh my God.
I have like a beagle sheepdog that every time she yawns, all I hear is, ew, and I'm like,
Yeah, my pumpkin spice cat is like, he still has like his little baby voice.
I want a cat.
man, yeah, he's like people have heard of baby fever, he's on cat fever right now.
Oh, don't get me started on cats. I got 4 cats. I work for a kitten nursery. Like,
Holy
yeah,
shit.
we'll be here for another 2 hours if I.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
Cats.
Well, that's all the time we have for today.
Whoa. So I have to do house cleaning first. Anyway, guys, that was our show. Again, thank you to Kira Buckland for coming in and talking to this very, very small podcast. And like, you know, getting lost in tangents. And if anyone's mad about like, how come they didn't talk about this or this? Well, there's only so much you could talk about because you do have a very big track record. Like, you do have a pretty lengthy track record when it comes into this.
In either case, you know, if and maybe down the line we could get together again, like a couple months
Who
down.
knows? Maybe I'll get another big role someday.
Yeah, and then we can
Yeah.
talk about that. Like, if in your case, if you're down for it, we can have you come
Yeah.
back, and then anything somebody wanted to hear about, we can ask it then.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But
I
let
still
us
feel like
know.
2B is gonna be my biggest role, like ever. But who
Yeah,
knows? I mean, we never know what the future
We didn't want to
holds.
talk about only 2B. Like, we wanted
Yeah.
to do, and I think we covered a pretty good
Yeah.
range of stuff.
And we were able to adjust the butt. So okay, people, that was one question.
The
my friend
butt.
had. That was one
The
question.
booty.
That was one question my friend had. Was like, talk about the butt.
We're talking about
Yeah,
the
we
butt.
talked about butts.
Yeah,
Oh, I was in like Xenoblade Chronicles X, and I guess that had like a boob slider in it or something.
Wait,
It was
really? Not in
removed.
the-
I heard
not in
about
the
that.
North
Yeah.
American release. Yeah, not in the North American
Oh, is that a
release.
thing?
Yeah.
I didn't know.
Yeah.
It got cut out.
Oh yeah, you bought that game.
Because I was one of like the
Oh, no,
characters
that
you
was
could
me.
customize. Like you can make your character and pick their voice and stuff.
Yeah, that was in the time when Nintendo was like in a cut fury, where they were like, Bravely Second came out. They had a character.
I was in that too. Yeah.
Who are you?
I was Artemia Venus, just a little part, but yeah.
He really loves Bravely Default.
Wait, who? Artemia Venus, who was that?
She had like a bow, I believe, and like kind of like a purple head. I don't know how else to describe it, and
I'm gonna have to.
He's gonna
like,
go hunt that shit down because
sister.
he really,
Like that was like the voice. Like,
he really
my
likes
God,
Bravely
like-
Default.
That was my life last year. Was just Bravely. I never 100% games. I got all the weapons. I got everything. I went back. I got all the job classes. So what was it? Wait a second.
Artemia Venus, yeah.
The wolf girl. The
Yeah,
fox
yeah.
girl. Oh, I loved her. I love the way she talked. Oh, you know too much. This is why you're still single. What?
Wait, I don't remember that one.
There's a part where she was being scolded by Adia, and she's like, "Oh, you scold too much like sister." I tell sister that's why she's still single.
Idia read mine too much. Like sister. Idia never get married.
It was that scene. It was that one scene in the game where you're locked in the tunnel with the dude that Kyle Herbert plays.
Was that in the first game or the second?
Second game.
Okay, yeah, because I was gonna say I don't remember that. She didn't have that much dialogue in either, but
Yeah, she taught. You had a little bit more dialogue in the second game. In the first game, they kept overshadowing that character with the sisters because the sisters really did talk more than she did, and she was just kind of there to be the character. Okay, now I know that character, and yeah, I do actually really like that character because.
And then I had like a little line as a different character at the very end where I can't even remember. It was so long ago that we recorded it. I can't
Was
even
this
remember what the line
second
was.
or default?
Default.
Okay, never mind. Because I'm like, were you the wife in second then?
No, I was a fairy.
Oh, okay. I think I know who
But
you're
it's like
talking
it's
about.
at the very end of yeah.
Okay. Yeah, because I know who played Eri, but
Yeah, it's like she looks like her, but she's not.
okay.
At like the end, and she has like a few lines.
Yeah, I know who you're talking about,
Yeah.
but don't trust those fairies. If there's one thing that game taught me, never trust those fairies.
Yeah.
But oh, man, but okay. So I got my question answered then.
All right, cool.
So yeah, guys, if you liked this, if you want more to come, if you want like more interviews with people to come, please spread the word. Have us get out there, because I did have some people, no voice actors, no one you knew, who were not interested in coming in because they saw how tiny our like listener count was, like microscopic.
I know, but like if we can get
Yeah.
a couple more people to come talking, maybe they'd be interested.
And also if we get more people listening and stuff, then that will show like, dude, you might want to waste your time with these guys. Then.
Yeah.
But yeah, if you want more, just let us know in the comments. Share, like, subscribe. If you want to contact me, bustedmusketpro@gmail.com. We have a Twitter account @bustedmusketpro. We have a Facebook account, Busted Musket Productions. The Twitter and Facebook account look barren, but I'm there. I'm watching.
I'm
I just
watching.
never
If you
post.
say something, I will
Yeah.
respond.
You just tweet at us because I don't have time to post, and like my friend wants the Twitter account, and I'm like
What, to be like an admin?
to be an admin on that, but I'm not gonna let him after I saw what happened with the Facebook account. I had to delete a lot of really useless posts that.
Damage control?
Muda muda.
Yeah, useless. Wait, muda. That's just me with the delete button. Muda. God.
Look at this dumb meme I tweeted the other day when you get a chance. It's Giorno and Dio as cows, and it just says Muda, like Mooda.
Oh my god.
Oh yeah, that is a story I'll tell you after we close this up. how someone got mad at me because they didn't know that a certain character was not directly related to a joestar.
Well,
But yeah, so again, that was our show. I was your host, Dan.
and I'm also Danny. Well, wait, you were supposed to say Danny.
Huh? I was your host, Danny. My bad.
I'm
I said
Dan.
Okay, fine. Then just say Danny. We did that last time where I messed up and you said Danny.
No.
Okay. And again, we were joined by, in case people forgot.
Yorha Unit 2B.
Oh my God.
Glory to mankind.
Yay.
Your favorite waifu. I know.
Yes, you like it. Yeah.